and welcome to This is USG, a video podcast by the universities at Shady Grove. 9 universities, 1 campus, great results. I'm Khademian, Executive Director of the universities at Shady Grove. Transformation begins with people, to change organizations, to create opportunities, to innovate, or to drive change. It requires diversity of thought, diversity of expertise, of experience, and diversity of imagination. The Healthcare Initiative Foundation supports organizations that offer solutions to improve the quality and delivery of healthcare for residents of Montgomery County, Maryland. And they are dedicated to building this vision by supporting a strong, culturally competent, and diverse healthcare workforce in Montgomery County, in part through major grants supporting students pursuing their education through Montgomery College and through our academic partners at USG with scholarships. Most recently, HIF awarded $1 million in scholarships for students in the healthcare fields from USG and Montgomery College. Tonight, we have 4 terrific guests to share the work of the Healthcare Initiative Foundation and the support and impact for students. Our first guest is Crystal Carr Townsend, President and CEO of the Healthcare Initiative Foundation. Welcome, Crystal.
Hi, it's such a pleasure, and I love nothing more about talking about this fabulous trifecta partnership between the Healthcare Initiative Foundation and the universities at Shady Grove and Montgomery College. It has been just such an impactful journey. In preparation for today, I tallied up since our inception with HIF, we have provided over $3.6 million, including this recent $1 million grant, to helping with scholarships at both academic institutions. And it's just been a phenomenal journey. We started out initially doing scholarships by semester, and we couldn't even imagine that we could really look at it to be so impactful, that we could really look at how we could support our students from Montgomery College as they transfer to USG and they work on getting their bachelor's degree. And then also that we could really impact prepping our needs of our workforce around healthcare. So we can actually, have this tremendous partnership of meeting future needs of our healthcare delivery system, along with supporting students along the way. And it's just been working with the staff, the students at both institutions has been one of our true highlights. And we are just immensely proud. In this last 5-year pipeline project, we impacted 253 students, which, just think about 253 students over 5 years. Of those 253 students, we had an 80% graduation rate. 80% graduation rate.
That is amazing. I want to dig in a minute to all of these details and learn about this. Let me just quickly introduce the rest of our guests. Katie Morris is the UMBC Social Work Program Director at USG. Katie, welcome.
Thanks, Anne. It is such a pleasure to be here with all of you. Crystal and I have been working together at least the past, I think it's about 7 years now, and it's great to see our, alumni on the call as well. So I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for having me join you.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. And let's introduce our alums from the program. Jenny Merino is a UMBC social work graduate, actually recent graduate in May 2021. Jenny, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, I am one of the most recent graduates. Very thankful for this crazy pandemic experience that we've had, but we made it and it's been great.
Awesome. And I can't wait to hear more about your story as well. And Elizabeth Nkansah is a UMB School of Nursing, May 2021 graduate. Liz, welcome.
Thank you. Hello to you all. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, I'm excited to talk with all of you. I can feel the energy tonight already in this great conversation. I know we're going to have a great discussion. So Crystal, let's start with the Healthcare Initiative Foundation, and let's start with you as well. Tell us a little bit about your journey to this foundation. Why the Healthcare Initiative Foundation? You give a lot of passion, a lot of time and energy. You're connected all over the county. How did you get to this point? How did you what the idea for the Healthcare Initiative Foundation and the work that you do? Tell us a little bit about your own journey and why the Healthcare Initiative Foundation.
So this has truly been my most favorite job, and it's been my utter dream, and I didn't even know it. And everything that I've done in the past has led me to this point of philanthropy. And I started out and I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Romania, 1998 to 2000. Prior to that, I was a night manager at a domestic violence shelter. And I had run some home visiting programs. So I worked in the nonprofit field. I ran a municipality, their community services division, did a lot of grant making through that. So I had a lot of government experience, and I was, not many people know this, but I was also a lobbyist for a point of time on Capitol Hill, working on utilizing cooperatives as a means for development in 174 countries. So I had this vast expertise from the nonprofit perspective, from the government perspective, like really systems building and policy related. And then I had dabbled a little bit in grant making through my municipal work. And so it's just been profound to see how all those initiatives come together and really created just this wonderful opportunity for me to understand what our nonprofits are going through, knowing what systems are going through, and then that community voice, because I've been working so grassroots in my volunteer work as a Peace Corps volunteer. But then, as many of those that know me well, is that I also grew up in poverty. My mom was pregnant when she was 15. I mobile home park. I had to work 2 to 3 jobs while I was going through school. So the journey I relate to very well. I know what it's like to take 21 credits, work a full-time job and a part-time job, and the utter exhaustion, and just one thing can happen and it just sets you back, and you don't have the financial assets or the safety net to pick you up. It's really, you are literally going one day to the next and just hoping that nothing breaks. And I find such value right now is that if we can help ease that burden, provide that security for the long term so that people can actualize their dreams, so that they know that people believe in them and then are behind them and willing to walk with them on their journey. I just think if we can do that for our students and help them reach their vision for their future, then we're going to have more people that are going to be giving back and more people in position like what I'm able to do right now and give back to the community. So I truly believe this is the dream that I didn't know I wanted, but I'm so grateful that came true, and my path led me here to really be able to be the person now, to be that wonderful hand on somebody's back saying, we got you, you got this, you can do this. And each day is a step forward instead of a step backwards.
Crystal, that's a beautiful story. And, not only your own personal journey and how that informs and inspires the work that you do, but also your ability to think system wide as well as grassroots, and thinking about the entire system and the energy for the system as well. It's remarkable. I just want to tell our audience that in the spirit of never standing still, Crystal is on a ship right now, so you can see the motion and the movement, and by the miracle of technology we are talking with her. So it's very exciting. Crystal, tell us a little bit about, you started out in your early comments talking about how how many students have been impacted by the giving of the Healthcare Initiative Foundation. And tell us about your approach to this and why you target funding for students. You've shared a little bit of that right now, but say a little bit more about that and the impact of that and how in the transformative role that can play in healthcare more generally.
Yeah, and by the way, this is we're still learning. So this new 5-year pipeline is even going to be better. So we're so excited. So we're so grateful for being able to evolve and continue to finesse and redefine what our giving is going to look like in partnership with USG and Montgomery College and the students. So number one is we wanted to make sure that every student knew that they had a pathway, that once they received a scholarship, that it would be renewable. And so we truly wanted them to have that understanding that even if they had to take a break for a semester, they could always come back to this pipeline. We were in it with them till they got their bachelor's degree, and that's where they wanted to go. In addition, we also wanted to make sure we were focusing on careers that had self-sufficiency, that when people graduated, that they could live and work and be self-sufficient in their workforce. And we also wanted to help support the workforce industry that was needing bilingual assets. So for over 2 decades, I worked in Montgomery County, and we have so much struggle getting bilingual speakers, particularly in social work and the behavioral health fields. And we really wanted to make sure that we were encouraging and developing those skill sets and developing a pipeline so that in the next decade, we weren't facing the same challenges. And so this is the pieces that we're really excited about. And as far as impact, I mentioned that we had 87 that have graduated, but we still have another 21 that are in the pipeline from that 253 that are continuing on. And those other 11, we still are hoping to get back into the pipeline. And then we have this number that I'm just really proud of that we got today. Out of those graduates, 67 have been bilingual students. Isn't that incredible? And so we're really seeing that impact. And then the other figure that I'm really happy with is that we have over 72% that have graduated and they're working in their field. They're working in behavioral health and wellness. And that to me just says that not only are we providing the scholarships and the wraparound supports to help students get through, but the impact is happening. And that's why we're so excited to be able to do this investment again.
That's fantastic. What great stats, what great data, what great impact. That's terrific. Katie, maybe you can tell us about how this works at USG and how are students selected for scholarships and what kind of information do you track in this? Crystal just shared with us some of the impact numbers, but tell us a little bit about how this works through your program here at Shady Grove.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I think what's really awesome is Crystal, I just want to pull a couple pieces, Crystal's work, as she noted, in the government, in the county, in nonprofits, in grant writing, she comes with this wealth of knowledge. And so when she brought this to us, it's like 5 years and you're going to collaborate together and we're going to track data. We were like, okay, we're going to do this. And as Crystal noted, what I love about working with HIF is that we did it some parts well and some parts not so well. And so we're kind of continually learning. But what I have to say is this is a true collaboration. We are working with our Montgomery College partners several times a month at least, right? To make sure we know who's in the pipeline, who's coming to us, who did arrive to us from Montgomery College and is now getting a scholarship at USG. And really that's because the vision that Crystal had, that this is the expectation. We actually didn't think we'd be able to do it, or I wondered if we'd be able to do it, but we were. Again, it's that collaboration and partnership. So what happens is students begin, again, their path at Montgomery College. They're in public health, nursing, or mental health, or what will be coming is the behavioral health program at Montgomery College. So there's students at Montgomery College and they want and see a path to the bachelor's degree. And so they receive funding while they're at MC scholarship funding each semester while they're at Montgomery College. Then they transfer to USG, and they're transferring into the nursing program, University of Maryland, Baltimore's nursing program, UMBC's social work program, or into University of Maryland College Park's public health science program. And so what's really awesome is students see a path, again, to the four-year degree to USG, and they continue to receive scholarship dollars while they're at USG. And as Crystal noted, what's really essential is because we know our student population, transferring from a community college to a four-year institution, it can take time. A majority of our students are working while balancing responsibilities outside of here, whether it be their own families, caretaking for part of their generational families. There's a lot of responsibility our students carry, and at times maybe they need a semester off, or maybe they need to reduce their course load, so it takes them an extra semester to get to graduation. But what's awesome is that HIF scholarship dollar is there every semester that they're enrolled either at Montgomery College or USG until they get to that bachelor's degree. And that's the really exciting part, is that we have our students, like the two that have joined us, and the other 80% that have been able to successfully get a degree, which is awesome.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Katie. That's great. Speaking of students, let's talk with Jenny and Liz about your experience. Liz, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your educational journey, both through Montgomery College and through USG, and how the scholarship has impacted your career path.
Okay, first of all, I do want to say a very big thank you to Crystal and the entire HIF team. Oh, they are lifesavers. That's what I would say, I think, in short terms. So personally, I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, and I moved here, I think, 7 years ago. I started my education at Montgomery College. So that's why I started my general studies, just so I could transfer into my nursing program. Back then, I was always working. I'm an independent student, so I had the responsibility of, having to take care of family back home, and then also having to take care of myself, going to school, working 2 jobs, and doing school full time. And so it was a lot to really combine. Through Montgomery College, I also could not qualify for a lot of scholarship and that is one sad issue, mainly because they would say, my income was high, which I didn't think it was high, but considering the responsibilities and a lot of things, I didn't even have healthcare. Like, I was struggling, but I still would not receive any form of grant from a lot of different places. And so for me, it was always like, okay, I do have the passion and I really want to go for it, but I don't know where I'm gonna, have that hit, like, okay, you can't continue because of money. And it was my greatest fear, which actually came to pass when I actually transitioned to USG, which is my home school is actually UMB, University of Maryland School of Nursing. My first semester, and I received the HIF scholarship throughout my entire time in school. And so I am so grateful. There were a point in time where I didn't think I would qualify. And thanks to Jessica, I know you were here. I don't know if you recognize me, but I actually had to reach out to her at some point. But during my second semester, I faced a lot of hardships where I was working full-time. Nursing program, everyone knows it's a lot of commitment that I was told nobody can go through that program having to work full time. So first of all, that was the first information they told me, but I was like, how am I going to survive without doing it? So to me, it was like, I have to do it either way. But during my second semester, I could not even pay for my tuition. I could not pay for my rent. I could not pay for anything at all, to the point where I had to reach out to my home school. I met with the chairman for finances and everything, but I could not get money. So at least having HIF scholarship, I was able to buy books. I was able to feed myself. I was able to pay my rent with that, okay? That was the only source of income. I mean, not income, but that was the only form of money that I was receiving, because I had to stop working because it was affecting my, academics. Like, I would say it was really impacting it in a huge way. So I had to quit working and just focus on school. And I just didn't have any income coming. And that was the only way I could take care of myself, feed myself, and pay my rent. And to me, it was a lifesaver for me, I would say. And, listening to Crystal, I think she did mention about, poverty and just different things that you talked about. I would say that for me, I had always, growing up, poverty and a lot of different issues that I can really relate to your story. And so many different times I had to myself that I want to be at a place where I can help other people also go through school and different things. And I had always said I was going to start a foundation. But I think, there is this saying that sometimes, life experiences and pain and different things influences you, that inspires you to fulfill a purpose. And I think going through that season and just seeing the impact that, somebody getting up and saying, I'm going to start this foundation so I can impact other people, that all really, really, to me, I think it was made for me. I'm able to graduate. I don't even know how far to go with this, but I was able to graduate, based on that help that I was able to receive. At some point, I had to move out from the place because, like I said, I could not pay rent. So I had to move out of Montgomery County and live with a friend, which was not even in Montgomery County. So I thought I wouldn't qualify because I was in Montgomery County. Again, also my grade had gone down, so my GPA was low. And things had really gone down. So I didn't think I would qualify. But when I reached out to Jessica, she was like, we still want to help you. We want to make sure that, you are able to go through. We want to make sure that, so reach out, email me. And she directed me to, who to email and who to contact. And I was still able to receive that financial help until graduation. So I want to end it here just so I don't take all the time, but I could go on. And I'm just so grateful for these organizations. So thank you.
Liz, thank you so much. What another incredible story. And I know you're going to be a phenomenal contributor to the healthcare profession. You bring a lot of passion and dedication to what you do. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Jenny, could you share with us a little bit about the path that you've taken and again, the impact of the scholarship on your ability to pursue your education and your career?
Yes, of course. So again, thank you all for allowing us to be here today and just having this whole foundation, as Liz said. So after graduating from high school, I knew that I wanted to go into the helping field. I just did not know, in what type of way. And when I got to Montgomery College, I remember always seeing Professor Morris's face coming in and speaking to everyone. And so I was very intrigued by the mental health program there at MC. So I was born in El Salvador and came here when I was 5. And the whole subject of mental health is kind of taboo in the Hispanic community. There wasn't a lot of education on it. And so when I initially started the program, my family was very just, a little bit set back, like we really don't know anything about this. And so as I was able to continue throughout the program, I was also able to kind of educate my own family and my own friends on the importance of mental health and every single aspect of life. And I remember Katie coming in to speak to us about the social work program at Umbc, consistently, always with a smiling face and so motivating. And how do you not get motivated with Katie? So since MC, I was always like, okay, I want to go to the social work program at USG. Because I did not want to make that long trip to the main campus, and just knowing that the USG was right there with all these schools was like, wow, this is amazing. And so we did have a lot of financial hardships because my brother was also going to college at the same time as me. So it was kind of hard to, make our own income and then be able to afford our own schools. Especially since he went out of state. And so, the scholarships were definitely a huge amount of help, especially those semesters where we kind of did not have the money to pay for them. But one thing with my parents, they have always, been very, very supportive in our education and did whatever they could in order, to let us continue going to school. And they have always been thankful for these grants. So I will say thank you on their behalf as well. And so once I got to USG, I definitely fell in love with the social work program. I fell in love with all the classes. I think it's such a big difference when you go into a program and you go into a class and you're genuinely ready to be there and excited to, be some type of change one day. And just knowing that we are now part of a community that can truly make some type of change is just amazing. And just as you all are right now, making, such a huge impact, between me and Liz, and then all the other students that have been receiving these scholarships. It's really amazing. And, just being able to see the light, like at the end of the tunnel, is amazing. And now I'm a graduate and alumni, which is really great. And it really was a struggle this past semester with the whole pandemic. And I'm actually expecting a little one as well. So I was kind of navigating through the morning sickness and kind of having the strength to leave a very toxic work environment that was no longer serving me. And so just being able to navigate through all that through the skills learned in the social work program and the mental health program, I think have really helped me out to know in which way I want to go now and just know the type of impact that I want to make in my community.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. Thank you both for sharing your stories. I'm hearing Crystal's vision in both of your stories. I'm hearing that, it's not just about support to go to school. It's about support to be able to navigate life and to pursue your dream, but with this deep understanding that life is complicated. Life is really complicated, and there are, so many challenges to be able to go to school. It's such a, to be able to just, go away 4 years and go to some campus and live there, that's just not, it's just not reality for so many students. And so to have a deep understanding of that Crystal brings to this, and to have an understanding of, what it takes to be able to pursue the degree, get through it with all of the things that are happening in life. I hear that in both your stories, but your drive and determination, your passion for what you want to do and the careers you want to have is really impressive and really, really impactful. Crystal, we've heard some comments about COVID and about the impact of COVID this year. I wonder if you could share a little bit about how the pandemic has maybe impacted the way you think about the work of HIF and scholarships more generally. But how has the pandemic changed or deepened the way you see the mission of HIF and how you approach that work?
Well, first I want to say just to the whole COVID-19 pandemic, I heard it in both the stories, and I just want to say thank you for your resilience, both to the USG teams and to our students, because we have been inspired by the many ways that everybody has risen to truly get through, right? And to recognize that we all wanted to do what we could to be supportive, change rules, change systems, adapt so that we could all get through this together, right? And I just want to say that I am just so grateful to be a part of a community that's always looking to do that. And one of the things that we have added to this year's pipeline project is this kind of life stipend, in recognition that it is both the academic supports that's needed, but it is this security of kind of financial asset building that is so needed for all in our community. And I would say we're trying to carry that aspect forward in a lot of our investments. So for the first time over this last year and a half, HIF has invested in programs that are doing emergency cash assistance directly to families because we truly understand that people need to have their ability to to fund what they need to fund, meet needs that they need to meet. And sometimes help comes in forms that is very pigeonholed and really doesn't necessarily meet where people are and what they need for their household. So we're really trying to refocus how we're actually helping. So it's the help that people need. And that's been the beauty. Katie spoke to this too, is that with this partnership, it truly is. We're changing how our approach is. We're constantly listening to the students' feedback. And they really told us over the last couple of years that they really wanted to have additional resources. So when things did come up, that they could adapt so that those bumps in the road could have softer landings. And I think that's the beauty, right? And just when I was hearing some of the, I apologize, my laptop just fell off the table. But as we see things, challenges arise, we want to make sure that people know that they have a safe place to go to get assistance, but also that they have these resources of their own, right? That they can pull upon and have control of where that wants to go, because that really is where we've seen the pandemic hit most, is where people just don't have the financial reserves to be able to, go a couple months without paying a rent, right? That is tough when you have dealt with an illness or a loss in job or having to move around. Those are tough things to navigate. And so I think that's been an area where we're seeing HIF really needs to kind of refocus on how we're able to ensure that people have the financial assets to be the stewards of their lives, right? And that's really where we all want to go with that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. I like your quote. People have the financial assets to be the stewards of their life. I think that's so important. And you can hear that in all of the stories here today as well. That's beautiful. Katie, maybe, you've talked about this incredible partnership that you've built with HIF and with Crystal over the years. And tell us a little bit about how you've seen the UMBC program evolve and change through this partnership. What has been the impact on the program itself, not only on the students, but maybe on the program itself, or both, whichever direction you'd like to take it?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think too that the influence is both ways. So I do remember meeting Crystal. Like I said, we were working on a smaller grant before the previous 5-year grant. And I talked to her about the diverse student population that we had in the social work program. And we had a large multilingual student population even at that time. And so we talked about the importance of helping these students make sure that they got to the degree, because what we were seeing is if you want people to be out in the profession, they need to be able to get to the degree and then perhaps move on to a master's degree after that. And so that was a conversation we had. And again, we had a diverse student population. What we're seeing now is there's even more diversity in our student population in the UMBC social work program, and even more multilingual students. So I've actually been with UMBC social work program at Shady Grove since 2003, so about 18 years now. And really the diversity of our student population and the percentage of students that are multilingual has really grown. And so what's awesome to see is that our alumni are coming back. And some of our alumni who were multilingual are coming back and saying, oh my gosh, look at this student population now. I have 2 adjunct faculty that are teaching that are alumni from our early years. And they noted kind of being one of very few multilingual students in the classroom. And now they're teaching in front of a class. They're multilingual themselves, and they're teaching in front of a class that is almost half multilingual. So it's really awesome to see kind of that growth. And I think what we're seeing is the population at USG overall, but certainly in the UMBC social work program, is really matching our county demographics. And so I think that that's actually a really awesome sign to see is that people that are living, working, and being in our community are able to access education in our community, and then being able to continue to work and live in our community. And to me, that's a success there. And I think that's also Crystal's mission too, as she's wanting to support the workforce in Montgomery County as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I'm gonna use that great point as a kind of closing thought. Um, trying to grow access to healthcare, trying to supporting, as you say, education, so that everybody in the county has an opportunity to be in healthcare if they'd like to, and as well as to receive the support they need. And it's fantastic. I'm wondering if each of you could take a moment to reflect on what you see as, the future of healthcare in Montgomery County. Where do you see it going? You can talk about it through the lens of your career or through the lens of access to healthcare, but I'd love to hear each of you reflect a little bit on where you see the direction of healthcare going in Montgomery County. And Liz, maybe we can start with you.
Oh, yes, of course. I think one thing that I do want to say, and I think for me personally, also being working in hospitals and different places, I think one of the things that I've always wished will change is the disparities. For instance, using myself as an example, I was working, doing the best I can, but I still couldn't have access to healthcare. And that was a major problem. And it was, adding up to my financial difficulties. And I think that does impact a lot of people in different ways and even back to this pandemic time, we could check back to, the rate comparing minorities and majorities to compare, seeing how people were dying. And we could tell most of them were, from the minority group. There were a lot of people that were having, different comorbidities in different ways, which was also contributing to the factors why they will have the virus, and the next thing they are dead. There are people that could not go to the hospital, and even when it comes to vaccination, based on the same issue, we were having different in rates and ratios because of the same healthcare disparities between them. So I do think that moving forward, seeing how we are having diversity in healthcare system, I do think it will really affect the overall how people actually perceive healthcare in general, because now we have people that can actually educate minorities in the language, in the way that they can understand and also relate to. There are a lot of people that people cultural bias, different ways. I think there are people that are being affected because of their whole diversity situation. So I think having that diversity in the healthcare system will really, really impact the overall health of the United States.
So interesting. Thank you, Liz. Jenny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think going along with what Liz said, and also just taking into account how culturally aware we are becoming now, and just being very culturally competent is a big stepping stone. Everyone is aware of, or mostly everyone is aware of, how they speak and how they enter a certain room or environment, to make sure that we are respecting everyone in each room. And I think with the social work field and the mental health field, we've also brought a sense of diversity, and just a sense of, we really do want to help you, and we really do know how important you are, and know that your needs need to be met. And just reinforcing that and being that motivation for everyone, I think it's going to be a big impact in that. So I think, as long as we all can try really hard to continue being motivational beings in this kind of cruel world, is kind of what will keep us going.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much. Katie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I just think that Jenny and Liz are such great examples. I mean, their stories of being from Ghana and El Salvador, and now, kind of living and working and getting their educations here and giving back to our communities. And that's so powerful to see. And so I think my hope is that, we have a workforce in behavioral health and healthcare that more closely matches our communities and our counties. And I think that's what both Liz and Jenny were stressing. And I think USG's role in that is to make sure that people in our community have access to higher ed, and that it's a place where they feel is a good place that they want to be. And so I guess part of my role is twofold, wanting to prepare a workforce, but also wanting to make sure that we have an educational community that is welcoming of all the different students from their lived experiences, because they're bringing so much to our classrooms. And there's just such a wealth of information that we can learn together, both as instructors and students. And so I guess that's my hope, is that we can continue to learn to, from, and with each other as we continue to educate in the county, and then see this growing workforce move out into the county and serve everyone. So thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Crystal, we're going to give you the last word tonight. Where do you see healthcare going in Montgomery County, and HIF's role in that?
Well, first of all, Liz and Jenny, I am so honored and proud of you. You guys spoke. I feel that you have taken my points. Just amazing. So big things. HIF has been on this journey of really trying to invest in historically underinvested areas of our community. You may be aware that there's a 17-year differential in how long you live in Montgomery County by place. And the factors that are closely aligned with that are race, education, and employment. And to no surprise, and I think it was Liz that spoke to this, that the COVID-19 impact of where we were seeing who got COVID-19 and who was dying by COVID-19 was closely aligned to those zip codes that have been historically underinvested in. So we know this is where we need to invest. We need to make sure areas of our community that have not received the same amount of infrastructure investment, supports around education, employment, that we really target those areas. And we're so excited to partner with University of Shady Grove and with Montgomery College and the wonderful students, because it's you that is going to make the difference in the long haul. You're the leaders of our future that's going to take this knowledge and make the change. And I'm just so honored to hear that those values and those investments, that you're seeing it and that you're going to be that change. The other piece that I've really been pondering about is how we're going to continue to meet the needs of our aging population in Montgomery County. We saw this too come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have the fastest growing population in Montgomery County is our aging, and they were the most impacted by COVID-19 as far as mortality rates. And how are we going to make sure that we are growing a workforce that can meet those needs? Those are a couple pieces of going to end with while they're changing the sails above me, where it's very loud.
Thank you, Crystal. Those are two really critical points. And I just want to say this has been an amazing conversation. I'm feeling so hopeful about the future in Montgomery County. Liz and Jenny, you're going to do amazing things for this community and for healthcare, and so proud of you both. So proud of the partnership that USG has with HIF, so proud of the UMBC program here and the dedication and drive of all of the faculty and program members here. It's an honor to work with all of you, and I'm excited for the future and what this amazing partnership can do for Montgomery County and for healthcare in general. So thank you all so much for your time tonight.